Hello, I'm Jay. Thanks for visiting Toastmasters International to learn more about what not to do when giving a speech. Since 1924, we've helped more than 4 million people gain the confidence to communicate clearly in all circumstances. One of the most demanding situations you'll ever face is speaking to an audience, especially when mistakes happen. Here are some time-tested tips to help you master your mistakes. We've all seen it. A speaker who seems boring, distant, and makes a great topic something you want to avoid forever. It could be a history professor who teaches about exciting historical events by reading a list of dates. Or it could be a nervous speaker who is too shy to make eye contact with anyone in the audience. Whatever the crime, they waste an audience's time. You can do much better than that. The first thing to learn is to face the truth. Here's the truth. Once you have stepped onto a podium, you cannot hide from your audience, and trying to hide behind notes, props, or even a PowerPoint show is a bad idea. If you want to make a connection with your audience, the first and most effective way is to make eye contact. Many speakers rely on notes. Depending on your location, audience, and purpose, it's usually okay to use them. If you need notes, however, try to use them in a way that supports your speech. You can learn a smooth method for giving speeches with notes, though a little advanced work will really pay off. Take a few minutes to mark your pages with colorful symbols, such as stars, circles, triangles, or any symbol that will stand out to you. Make them bright and easy to find. With practice, you'll be able to speak from notes, looking up at your audience regularly, and then return to your notes knowing exactly where to pick up again. Practice several times before your presentation, so you can find the right symbols each time. Once you've established a connection with your eyes, it's important to build on that with your words. Be careful to avoid alienating or offending your audience. They can be alienated by some big mistakes like arriving late or speaking on a topic other than what you promised. Remember, there is usually no such thing as a captive audience, especially if they pay to see you speak. They can storm out while you're speaking if you fail to give them the speech you promised. Most speakers are smart enough to avoid those problems. That leaves the less obvious mistakes a speaker can make. To be fair, I'll admit, there is a lot you have to be careful about. An audience might be sensitive to language, embarrassing anecdotes, the clothes you're wearing, or even the way you gesture. How do you know what will anger the audience? To save yourself a lot of problems, you must know your audience before you walk on that stage. You could find yourself speaking to people from any walk of life. They might be young, old, rich, poor, and more, with beliefs as varied as their cultures. Part of your job as a speaker is to learn a little about them. One mistake that any speaker can make is to try a one-size-fits-all approach to public speaking. The problem is, different people need different information. How can you know the purpose of your talk if you don't know who's listening? Use the internet to search about foreign countries and cultures where you'll be speaking. That includes corporate cultures. Look for any local rules on dress, gestures, and body languages. Of course, you want to be lively on stage. Avoid becoming a stiff speaker with hands stuffed in your pockets. Your audience will appreciate that you need to express your message. Be sure you're expressing yourself in a way that your audience can understand and accept. If you find yourself in a situation where you cannot learn much about your audience in advance, it's best to play it safe. Avoid swear words or cursing. Rough language can be regarded as disrespectful and can send the audience members heading for the door. In general, don't let it become a crutch. Instead, take the time to develop the vocabulary you need to express your message effectively. And while we're on the subject of language, make sure your words match the audience's level of understanding as much as possible. Try to avoid burying your message under technical jargon, industry acronyms, complex words, or even a lot of difficult statistics, unless you are sure that your audience is interested and able to understand it. And if you must share complicated material, be sure to add in plenty of anecdotes, humor, clear examples, and meaningful pauses. Like that. These can help you control the pace of your speech, so be sure to use them if you catch yourself hurrying through material. Rushing a speech is a very common blunder, and it's a serious mistake to make. Sometimes, a speaker tries to squeeze too much material into a time slot that's just not long enough. Another speaker might set the pace too slow at the beginning and then rush at the end. The result of that is you throw information at your audience faster than they can absorb it. Your message will be lost. If all else fails, stop and take a breath. Once you've learned how to connect with your eyes and your words, it's time to make sure you've connected with your voice. Toastmasters often practice something called vocal variety. That means they want their voices to reflect the messages and emotions behind their words. Avoid speaking in monotone. And while you're working on your voice, here's something else to avoid. A lot of beginning speakers let their voices drop off or lower at the end of every sentence. When your voice lowers at the end of your sentences, the audience has trouble understanding your message. Instead, try to project your voice throughout your speech so people can hear you. It will take some practice, but you can also vary your pitch at the same time so that your voice reflects your message and keeps it exciting. Oh, that's a lot to remember, isn't it? Don't worry. The main thing to keep in mind is that you want to present for your audience, not to them. Make it your business to know what they want or need to hear, and then be sure to present it in a way that captures their attention and offers a clear message. With some planning and rehearsal, you'll be able to avoid the common mistakes that plague other speakers. For more information on what not to do when giving a speech, please visit a Toastmasters club. Find a location near you at toastmasters.org.